Welcome back to my channel. I'm Miriam Manzo. Today's tour is of a home that I originally did back in the 90s when French country was at its height. We had done the home at that time, this living room and dining room in particular. I'll show you the pictures of the before in complete French country style, and a lot of the furniture that was purchased was incredible quality furniture. So when we came to do this renovation 4 years ago, it was important to the homeowner for us to reuse that investment that they had made 20 plus years ago. Come along with me today and I'll show you how we took this French country dated home to absolutely livable luxury MMI style. So this room started with this buffet. This was originally in the dining room, and from the beginning I felt that it was too large for this space, and you'll see what I did in the dining room that really negated having this piece in there. But it's a beautiful, really luxurious Italian-made piece. I wanted to make sure that we kept it. What we did in here was there was originally parquet floors, so that was gone. And then we also, this room had no lighting, so we added pot lights, and then we also brought in these beautiful Italian sconces that the homeowners had bought originally when they did the first renovation, but never got around to putting up. And then you see the MMI signature detail, the paneled walls. This is an applied molding that we put not only on the walls, but you see I wrapped it right up and across the ceiling as well. So every room or wall of this room has detail on it. And then this beautiful window, this was always the focal point of this room. But initially we had very heavy draperies that really covered the beauty of this window. So this time I simply went with some beautiful luxurious silk side panels and a beautiful silhouette blind. And then we took out the heavy couch that was here before, and I did this beautiful chaise. This is again another signature piece for MMI. You've seen I've used it in a few spaces. I love to put these where there's a big picture window. It actually brings you into what would have been a room that seldom gets used and gives you a spot to luxuriate on a Sunday morning with a cup of coffee looking out the window. And we can see Chelsea here is a huge fan of this particular sofa. And then the coffee table. This again was originally theirs. We changed the orientation of it when we did this renovation. And then these chairs here were again original to the house. What I did though was I painted the frame out now to really lighten the look of this room, and we recovered the fabric again in something more neutral. And I'm going to turn this around so you can see again another signature MMI detail where we bring this complementary fabric to the back of our chairs, and that's particularly important in a scenario like this where you're also seeing the back of this chair from another room. So now we head into the dining room. So let's stop here for a moment and talk about this opening. So originally this opening was smaller and it was trimmed with just your basic door frame trim, nothing special. So again, another MMI signature detail that I like to do. These legs, I call them, I like to wrap important openings. What this does is it brings prominence to an opening and importance to a room that you want to really stand out. So the other thing that by taking this legs up, I'm taking that panel detail all the way up. And if you look at the crown molding, what that does is it creates these cuts. It gives the crown molding dimension rather than it going completely flat across the top. So the dining room, again, we've brought in more applied molding and created these panels, and you can see the spectacular detail we did on the ceiling again in this house. This table was original from our reno or our decor 20 years ago. Clients still loved it, an incredibly beautiful piece. However, it was purchased with the matching chairs, which I'm not a fan of. So I managed to finally talk them into switching out the chairs to get a more luxurious custom look. And we went with this very simple French style wood frame chairs. Again, a very neutral fabric. This is all Krypton based fabric. And there's that detail on the back to bring interest. And I painted these to match the chairs that we just saw in the living room. And then our drapery panel is the same fabric that you saw in the living room for continuity. This chandelier was original from 20 years ago and matches the sconces we just saw. And then this doorway. So now this doorway was actually down at the end, and that buffet I talked about in the living room was squeezed in here. It really wasn't doing the room any favors. So I've moved the door over, and when we get to the kitchen, I'll show you how that helped me there. And by moving it here, it kind of gives, while not a direct sight line, a better sight line than when the door was off to the side. And then I created these legs and this important detail here again at this doorway. Let's take a look at our front entrance. Here in the front foyer, the first decision we made was to eliminate the original tile that ran through this entire section into the kitchen. If you take a look at my reaction to Gwyneth Paltrow's house, we talk about that decision, whether to have one flooring run right through. So in this case, we did take our wood floor, but the homeowner was adamant she wanted this small area of tile. Now, you can see again in our trends issue, we talked about this little brass detail that I've brought here in the tile. So that's a trend for this year, but you can see it really elevates this little tile and gives dimension to that rug look that we've done. Now, a lot of people ask, what is your thoughts on putting a tile rug in the front foyer as opposed to having wood? And here in Canada, we have a very long winter wet season. So if you're the type of homeowner who's going to put a rug down, regardless of what the floor is, I always say just continue the wood rather than breaking up that flooring. If you're the type of person who has a side door and your front door is really just going to be about entertaining guests through it, then you can do that tile and just to bring in some more dimension and another layer of detail. So here in the front foyer, again, you'll see where we've added the panel details, and we took those right up to the upstairs, right through the whole house. And then originally this staircase had wood pickets. So we've painted them out, we've sanded and stained our stairs to the flooring that we've selected. Now, one of the things that I caution you when choosing your wood floors, how to decide what species. If you are not planning on replacing your staircase, select the same species of wood that your staircase was in. In this case, our staircase was oak, so that is where we chose what we chose for our floor. Now, there's a very important reason for this. One of them is continuity. You want to make sure those grains stay the same. But more importantly, when you go to stain that tread, it will be as close a match to your flooring, especially if you're buying a pre-stained engineered hardwood floor, you will get the best results. And then we've done this beautiful runner. So you can see a lot of the details in here are classic, but this is where, just like in the way I dress, I like to mix classics with a little bit of edge and a little bit of trend. So we went with this fabulous runner that is a little bit more edgy. Even though it's still kind of on the traditional side, it really makes a statement of its own. And then, as I said, we took this panel detail right through. So this little corridor, I could have closed this off with an opening, done my little leg detail, but I felt it would have closed in the space. So in this case, I decided to just keep the flow going. And this takes us to our closet, a mudroom, and then the most beautiful jewel powder room that I really want to show you. I love this powder room. It's not a large space, but every detail imaginable is in here. So we started off with this beautiful custom vanity I designed, where I brought in again a little bit of that brass detail that we talked about in our trends issue. And then this beautiful piece of marble. So this was a remnant we found. I didn't need to buy a whole slab. I just needed it for here. So we went looking for a leftover piece, and we're lucky enough to find this beauty. And then I've wrapped the room in wallpaper. So this eliminates the need for art, and it really brings warmth and texture into a small space. And you'll notice that I've mixed metals. Again, we talked about that in the past. So here's our very trendy brass in a satin finish, and then I've mixed it with polished nickel in a little bit more of a contemporary, almost deco style faucet. And then you'll see throughout the house we have a mixture of antiques for both lighting and mirrors that we've brought in. And then my faux flowers. We are going to do a video on how I select my faux flowers and how I mix them and use them. So this has been done, this is about 4 years, and people always ask, you know, how do you keep them clean? Do they get dusty? I find a little blast with a blow dryer every 6 months or so keeps them looking just so fresh and beautiful. So overall, just a jewel of a space. Let's take a look at the master bedroom next. The construction changes in the master bedroom were minor. We actually brought the same oak flooring from the main level up to the whole upper level. So we replaced the parquet flooring. And then we added pot lights, crown molding, and repainted. Now, originally the bed sat here in front of the window. That is where the customer felt that they were most comfortable having it. And because of that, we were limited to using a queen size bed. In this renovation, I finally convinced them to try the bed on the longer wall, and it's now been here for a few years, and the client is actually ready to upgrade to a king size bed. Now, originally this bedding was done very traditional. We had silk duvets on it and these original pillows. So what a lot of people don't understand is, like in fashion, again, we've talked about this before, you want your home to continually evolve. So you want to buy those classic pieces and then bring in the trends, the edginess, in order to refresh your spaces and make them look current. So in this case, the way we did that was we've moved to a white bedding, still mixed with her patterned pillows. And the one thing that I'm adding here is a silk pillow. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have heard about these silk pillowcases. They're all the rage. And this one is from Lily Silk, one of my favorite brands that believes in zero waste, the highest quality mulberry silk used in their products, as well as ethically produced silks. So the benefit of having a silk pillowcases is multiple. First of all, you don't get static. So if your hair is prone to breakage, to static, to frizz, that's coming from the friction from a cotton pillowcase. With a silk pillowcase, you really reduce that, if not eliminate it completely. It also helps to reduce the pressing of fine lines into your skin if you're a side sleeper or a back sleeper. Sleeping on silk, again, has no friction, so you're not going to get the same pressing that you would with a cotton pillowcase. And then it also helps heat regulate. We've talked about Lily Silk products before because I just love them. Silk helps heat regulate, and it also helps with moisture retention. So this is one of Lily Silk's best sellers, is their silk pillowcase. And if you could feel this, it's really, again, you can tell that they're only using the best quality mulberry silks for their products. So a lot of you have commented on my fashion sense, and I want to thank you for that. I'm not sure how many of you are aware, I used to be a model as well as a fashion consultant, and I really use my fashion sense in my decor work. So I built both of them on the same principles, which is to start with classic pieces and then bring in a little bit of edge, a little bit of youthfulness. So today I'm actually wearing head to toe Lily silk, and this blouse in particular is one of their best sellers, the SOS, and I love a good silk blouse. It can be worn so many ways: casual, dressed up, evening. And so one of the things you'll notice about the way I put clothes together, if I've got a cuffed shirt, for example, you will never see me do up the buttons. This gives that classic piece a more relaxed, youthful vibe. And then I've got on their pleated skirt. I just love this. Now, the detail that I find most incredible about this skirt is that you see that the pleating starts off small, and as I spin around, you're going to see that pleating get larger. So again, this is a detail that I like to bring in my home decor as well as my fashion. It's a little bit of an edge that you're not going to find in just a plain classic piece. Now, I want to show you how this one skirt can be worn so many ways. We've dressed it up, as you see here, through the seasons. As you know, in Canada, we have 4 seasons. So not only do I want the pieces that I'm buying to be able to carry me through those 4 seasons, I want that piece to be able to carry me from a morning business meeting to a grocery run in the afternoon to dinner at night. And you can see how this one skirt does just that. So for all of my friends out there, we have a code for you. Miriam 12M will get you 12% off any piece that you order. And if you purchase more than $200, you're going to use code Miriam20M. This will get you 20% off your entire order. I encourage you to go and look at Lily Silk. Their spring line is really one of the best I've seen so far. And again, they are classic pieces, luxurious fabrics, done with an edge. You're going to dress them up, you're going to dress them down, you're going to add your accessories, which, just like in home decor, is what's going to really personalize that room or that piece for you, that look. And you're going to get that discount right now. Take a look. I'm sure you're going to love it. Let's take a look at the master bath next. We're in the primary bath now. The biggest change made here was where I'm standing. This was actually a bidet, one that not only never got used, but was preventing the homeowners from accessing the storage that this Vanity was offering. And it was only a single sink because of this bidet. So by eliminating it, I've now been able to give them this double vanity with storage here in the tower, and then this beautiful complete drawer look, which gives them plenty of storage, as you can see. And then if we go around to the tub side, so the tub was your typical drop-in inside of drywall walls. I put a freestanding here, and then this little trick that I've done that you've seen me do before, where I talk about utilizing the wall space between rooms. We have a closet on the other side of this. So we took that space between the wall cavity to create this beautiful little storage niche here. Backed it with mirror glass shelves. You can see I brought the panel detail all the way up. And then here are those cut crystal and silver vanity jars that we talked about. So again, a nice little area to keep things that you utilize in the tub. And then we redid the floors, brought in a luxurious 12 by 24 marble tile, and then brought the marble into this shower. So once again, we opened it up. We brought as much glass to make it as open and luxurious as we could. And then we did these beautiful marble mosaic inserts, trimmed them with a marble pencil, and then just did these beautiful polished nickel filled fixtures to tie in with our gold accents throughout. A little shower niche here and a very usable, beautiful shower. Let's take a look at the main bath next. Our main bath was really about mixing high with low. So my splurge here was this mosaic floor. I did the entire floor in this mosaic, didn't do any rug details, just let the floor really be the star of this show. And then we found a ready-made vanity. We didn't do anything custom here. Again, the luxury here was to take this mirror from the counter right to the ceiling and then have our light fixtures put on top. I love what this does to a room because it actually doubles the amount of light that those fixtures are giving off. And then in order to save some money, we went with a porcelain marble looking subway tile in the bath. And the only splurge here was to do this beautiful shampoo niche, and we brought in again, marble pencil to tie everything together. But really, this is just a simple bathroom. We really, as I said, brought in a little bit of luxury, but tried to keep the cost down here. Next, I'm going to take you to my favorite room in this house, the kitchen. Let's head down. This kitchen is a dramatic difference than how it originally was. So the biggest change is the style of the kitchen, the color of the cabinets, and then the fact that those cabinets did not go to the ceiling. So one of the biggest changes you can make to add luxury to the look of your kitchen is to take those cabinets all the way to the ceiling. We have 9-foot ceilings here. So we brought in a very traditional look. Again, it is a painted finish with a soft mushroom glaze on these cabinets. We didn't have enough space to do a frame finish, so that's a little trick for you. For those of you who are interested in having a frame finish, you actually lose storage. So you really need to have quite a bit of space in order to get away with a frame finish. But these are beautiful. Here's a trick that I do. There's never a valance in my kitchens. We always put the lights underneath as well as plugs, and we build that valance into the cabinet so it's hidden behind the door. Taj Mahal, you've heard me talk about this quartzite. Just beautiful. We've got luxurious appliances with the wolf, and then we've done this beautiful covered hood fan so that our fan is hidden underneath. We don't see it. So again, not a big kitchen, but full of great storage ideas. Her old kitchen had a small island that was movable. And wasn't really working in the space. So I created this. It's very narrow, it's not big, but it does the trick. It's very luxurious looking. We've got the microwave housed on this side, and then I dropped this little piece down so that it looks like we've butted a piece of furniture up to the island, which from the table gives it a more furniture-like look. And this is where she houses her collection of cookbooks. And then I'm going to walk to the other side here. So we've got a paneled fridge here. You know my feeling on that, especially in a small kitchen. Go for these paneled refrigerators and for counter depth. So this way it's not butting into the room. And so you can see I did these details that look like large columns, but they're actually usable space. So if we come to the side here, this gives her pantry on both sides. And then originally we talked about, when we were in the dining room, the location of the door. So originally the door to the dining room was here, which gave her a U-shaped kitchen. Now, I mentioned how I would tell you why I moved that door. I tried to avoid L shapes and U shapes as much as possible because that space in the corner is very awkward. And in a kitchen this size, it was very awkward getting to that space back there. So by moving the door over here, that allowed me to give what looks like a freestanding, almost armoire feeling to this cabinet. And then I have the storage on both sides that open up from the side rather than the front. And then we have the detail of the cabinets that come right to the counter, which if this was a corner scenario, I would not have been able to do. Now, one of the biggest changes is on this side of the room. So this was actually one of those walk-in pantries. There was a door here and you walked into a closet. You saw me do this at our I waited 35 years to renovate video. Same idea, I opened up this space. Now, what was in here has now gone into the side pantries, as well as we've accommodated storage. But now this opens up the space, makes it look larger, and it gives a dedicated spot to make coffees, to mix drinks, so that you're out of the way of the main area of the kitchen. And it's just a nice spot to make your coffee in the morning. You're closer to your guests who are sitting at the table, and it's, I think, just a jewel of a room. Now, her table was existing, so we took it, we sanded it down, restained it, and then did these custom chairs. So vinyl on the front, you've heard me talk about this before, and then this beautiful, I think, Chanel-like fabric at the back with our nailhead details. And now we're going to take you into the family room. One of the biggest changes here in the family room was this opening. So originally it had pony walls with columns on it, and not only that, there was a secondary entrance here from the hallway. I found it really impeded on the space, and did you really need to get into the room through there when you could come through here? So it was really stopping the traffic flow by having that door. So I finally convinced the clients to let me close that off, and then created this beautiful opening to the room. So the couch was original. We had done it over 20 years ago, and it was a good piece. It was a Barrymore couch, really well made, but it was dated looking. So we reconfigured it, we cut the arms, we redid the fabric, and really made it look new again. Same with this ottoman. It was originally tufted, it was leather, it was on very fussy feet. We simplified it, did it in this beautiful new fabric, again with Krypton, and made it look new and fresh. So the biggest change here at the fireplace was that we brought in a little bit of our Taj Mahal from the kitchen and replaced the Carrera that used to be there. And then this spectacular piece of artwork. This was actually originally in the dining room over that buffet that we moved. And I just thought that it was lost in there, and that now it really has a place of importance and just sings in this room. And then this beautiful French country piece. Again, this was a piece that we did over 20 years ago. Still love it. It was, again, awkward because of that doorway coming in. You were seeing the side of it. So by closing that door, this wall became all about this beautiful piece of furniture, which will just live on and on because it's just so classic and beautiful. We custom made these chairs here that are really more for conversation than they are for TV. Overall, I think this renovation just turned out to be a spectacular new home for this client, for them to enjoy another 25 years here. The renovation was finished just in time for their first daughter's wedding, and it was a beautiful day, supported by a beautiful backdrop of this home. Again, I want to thank you for coming along with us today. Don't forget to use your code Miriam 12M and Miriam 20M at Lily Silk to find the most divine silk clothing, bedding, pajamas, you name it. And keep in mind, there's no waste with this company. That's one of the things I love about them. Have a look at their scrunchies and their eye masks. All the leftover materials are utilized and used in these, and I just love that idea. I want to thank you again for joining us. Don't forget to comment, to subscribe, to like, give us a thumbs up, and click the bell icon so you'll be notified of our future videos. Thanks for watching. I'm Miriam Manzo.